Once again, you listen to What's Up Aboard the podcast. We want to encourage everyone before we get started to like, subscribe, and follow What's Up Aboard the podcast wherever you stream your services at. Some of our more popular platforms include Audible, Pandora, and Amazon Prime. With that being said, my name is Woody Board. I'm the host of the show, and my co-host is none other than Jay Bay in the building. Subject.
Hey.
Hey, I'm excited about our guest today because not only is she a catalyst in our community, but she's also started her own not-for-profit. She's going to tell us all about that and more. Ladies and gentlemen, please help us in welcoming Ester Lewis to our show. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, definitely our pleasure. So, Esther, before we get started, tell us a little bit about who you are and what program that you are working on that's affecting the community.
So my name is Esther Lewis. I'm CEO of Holistic Evolution, which is a nonprofit that supports organizations' capacity to serve males of color 16 to 24. That was a mouthful, but yeah. I raised my son, who is now 20, and I saw the issues that I had in raising him as a single mom, and didn't want other young men or other mothers to have those same struggles. And so I didn't decide, God told me to do it, and then I ran for a little while, and then I did it. We talked about that a little bit.
Yeah.
So you ran from it. What kind of expound on that?
Oh, Jay, you would just jump right on it.
You said it. I'm catty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't necessarily come from a community or like a family or an upbringing where we started businesses where we had the resources to do it, or even it was not something that was ever introduced. Let me not say that. It was introduced in the academic sense, or mentoring sense, but that was not something that my mom would tell me that I could do. That would be something, that I had some limiting beliefs around that, if that makes sense. So starting a business was not something that, it was not something at all that I felt like I could do. But yeah, in 2019, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and just spending some time getting quiet and talking to God and just, asking the questions why. I kind of was just like, okay, let me figure out what is going on with my life, what I'm doing here. And through that time period of navigating something that was really new to me, like I had never been through cancer or anything with anybody in my family. God revealed, like, this is your purpose and you've been running from it. Like, it's time to do what I put you on the earth to do. Yeah. So that's a long answer for one question.
I mean, that's amazing. It's not what you go through, it's what you grow through, right?
Right. Yep.
Praise God. Yes. I love that.
Where are you located at, Esther?
I'm originally from Gary, Indiana. I still live in Northwest Indiana.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I'm familiar with that area. I got my barber's license in Gary 50 million years ago up on Lavelle's. I don't know if you remember that when he was there on, I think it was Broadway Street or something like that.
Or you ain't got no hair on your head.
I cut hair. I'm growing up.
I don't even think. No, I don't think I know that place, but
Yeah.
Broadway is the street. That's the
Okay.
main street in
Yeah.
Gary.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, because it's when I was there, it was that area was it wasn't the greatest. It was kind of going down a little bit. Do you kind of get back over there a lot, or what's it like over there now?
Oh yeah, every day, every day.
Okay.
Um, oh, the city is doing amazing. Our previous mayor had started a lot of just community and economic development
Hmm.
projects. She was doing a lot of I don't know if you guys know what collective impact is. Just pulling together different stakeholders in the community and just taking account for what is there. She was doing a lot of collective impact. And then, you know, a lot of economic development, or at least projects that were started,
Hmm.
under her when she was mayor. And then we have a new mayor, and he too is just there's a lot of opportunities here. The state, so so typically, not typically, but in the past, Gary has kind of been known for their relationship not being as strong with the state
Hmm.
or with the governor. And so I see this, our current mayor, kind of working more with the state on the economic development front, if that makes sense. So
Okay.
like the governor has identified a number of opportunity zones in the city. So that makes, the land attractive to businesses and investors. A lot of the residents are concerned about, gentrification, but there's just a lot of movement. I'm happy that there is conversation being had about, growth and development in the city.
Hmm.
Um, but we get both sides of the argument.
Okay. What's a typical day like for you? I
Typical.
know they're all
There's
different, but
yeah, there's no typical days. Um, Usually when I'm doing well, I get up and I go to the gym
hmm.
before 8 o'clock. This morning I wasn't doing too well,
Okay.
so after this, I'll go to the gym and I'll post a sweat check picture on Instagram, motivate everybody, and actually motivate myself.
Hmm.
Um, and then I come back to the house and I like get started mostly with Zooms. I usually have 1 or 2 days that are in the community, some kind of way, like just a meeting or site visit or something like that. Um, so yeah, a lot of what I do is behind the computer and talking to people, calling people, texting people,
Hmm.
especially when we're doing events and things like that consistently. I send out a couple thousand text
Wow.
messages.
Oh wow.
I
She
know,
said
right?
she didn't say a couple hundred. She said a couple thousand.
Right.
I
A
know
couple thousand,
thumbs,
yeah.
your thumbs
Say
hurt.
again.
So your thumbs
They
hurt. Do you
do,
copy?
and it usually takes me a couple of days to do it.
Okay.
So
Oh,
yeah. So we're trying to get some help. We're trying to get some help. We're working on it.
Okay. You had mentioned earlier that um, you weren't necessarily totally comfortable about taking on this task. So what was able to get you over that hump? I know you said God called you to do it, but sometimes we know the whole story about Jonah. So he fought it too. How did you just get moving on it? Did you have a mentor? YouTube? How did you do it?
You say just get moving on it. Um, so so holistic evolution is kind of in response to gaps that I've seen in working in youth development, for almost 20 years.
Mhm.
Um, and so the work that I do is work that I've done for nonprofits throughout the years, just kind of supporting them in programming, so to speak. Whether that was like as a consultant or, like a second job or whatever. So in 2019, that was like my 40th birthday. The cancer scare happened, and I had a birthday party, and basically it was just like, okay, I'm gonna sell tickets to come to my birthday party. And we are gonna use this money to support male mentoring in Northwest Indiana. Um, and so that's what we did. And then, like I started the nonprofit maybe like the same time. So in October, my birthday is October 13th, and I started Holistic Evolution like October 19th.
Wow, that was quick.
That's cool. So what's the day in the life as like like when the program is up and going, you have 5 to 10 kids, going through? Is it individual? Is it group? Is it are you going to schools to try to apprehend these kids? Are you going to churches? What does that look like?
Oh wow. So that's a loaded question, Jay. So the first thing is, so Holistic Evolution supports the organizations
Mhm.
that do direct service.
Ah,
And
okay.
so there may be a mentoring program that does group every second Friday, every other Friday. And so Holistic Evolution will support that group by finding funding for food, because it's better when we have food.
Fellowship
Um,
is good with food. I understand.
Yes. And so we would support that organization and recruiting mentors.
Okay.
If there are young men that need one-to-one mentoring, then identifying the mentor and funding to support that relationship. Right now, we are paying mentors to do a number of things. So we have like three different projects, three and a half different projects that we're doing, and we are paying mentors to basically operate in those roles. If you guys could kind of understand where holistic evolution comes from, being a single mom, we always say, we can't raise our sons to be men. And so it's the same kind of concept with holistic evolution. I personally can't mentor the young men, but what I am good at is coordination of services. I am good at linking people to things and just making it a seamless interaction for that mentor and that mentee. I'm really good at research, measuring the relationship and evaluation of the relationship. And so I'm just doing the parts that I'm good at, and then I'm trying to find men that do just kind of walk those things out. Um, so yeah, it's a lot, but it's mostly me sitting and coordinating and calling people and that sort of thing. The answer, for males of color, because we specifically focus on males of color 16 to 24. The answer from my perspective, for males of color, is males of color. So mentors is so extremely important. Other populations, even in women, we see that cross-generational learning that happens,
Right.
like we have our aunties that we talk to about what happened, at 13. And when, we have that, that has not been the case for many males of color. They don't necessarily have that cross-generational learning that's happening, which means that our males of color are learning things later than, when our young ladies would, or, you know.
How are you bringing awareness to these mentors that you need for the program? Where are you finding them at?
Oh, Lord. Listen. So, okay, so everybody says this all the time. Since God purposed me to do this, like he has really given me I don't want to say wisdom. He's given me wisdom in collecting names and numbers and emails for like the past 10 years. I don't know, like a very long time. So one of the projects that I've worked on since 2013, I organized the Indiana Black Barbershop Health Initiative.
Okay.
But so I've coordinated it in Lake County. And so having done that, I've kind of been known in the community for an advocate for, African American males' health. And then I'm connected with the Commission on the Social Status of Black Males, and so they do a conference, and so I always try to work with schools to like identify funding to get a bus and get young men to Indianapolis to attend the conference. And so I've kind of been known throughout the years as someone who advocates for you know for males of color. And I've just collected phone numbers and just continued to just build on that network, especially seeing as all of the projects that I've done before, prior to starting Holistic Evolution. It was like, I'm doing this because I see the need, not because somebody was paying me to do it or anything. So the people's names and numbers that I collected, these are all volunteers, and these are volunteers that I'm bringing back year after year to, hey, remember the last time we did this? We had fun. Come on and give me your Saturday again, type of thing, And so it was imperative that I kept hold of those folks, like their numbers, and
Right.
kept them engaged. So now that I've started Holistic Evolution, and we, focus specifically on males of color, it's just like all of these previous relationships, okay, so now we have funding, and that was one of the gaps that I kind of talked about in youth programming, or what I saw being ineffective when it comes to mentoring young men of color.
Awesome.
We needed to have funding there. So we got the funding. Now we gotta, get the work done.
Right.
Yeah, great. So what about these when the mentors come in, is there like classes or training that they go through, or something that you want to instruct them on to make sure they're inculcating with the participants?
That's a wonderful question, Ward. Of
Why, thank
course
you.
there of course there is. So kind of the niche, and I don't want to say it's the niche, but there's a whole body of work, like evidence-based and informed practices, coming out of mentoring or mentor which is so the My Brother's Keeper initiative, basically when President Obama was in office, and it's the My Brother's Keeper initiative is still going on, but they shifted a lot of money into Mentor, which was just kind of the study the effectiveness of mentoring. And so all of the mentoring that we do, I train our mentors on evidence-based practices. Essentially from it's a book, it's a huge toolkit that is the effective practices in mentoring. And so I train on those evidence-based practices. I identify evidence-based curriculum. So depending on the type of mentoring that they do or the type of project that they're working on, there are specific trainings that is required of that. Right now we have funding to support primary prevention in Northwest Indiana, so Lake, Porter, and LaPorte counties. So there is a well-known curriculum called BOTVAN Life Skills Transitions. And so those mentors we call our mentors holistic heroes. Those holistic heroes that will be delivering that curriculum have to be trained on that curriculum. So it's like multiple projects. I'm telling you, it's a hodgepodge. Like this is like gaps that I've seen throughout the years, like things that, you know, I don't want to say I know, but we will see if putting funding the way that we have, if it's going to prove to be effective. Give me 12 months and you will have the evaluation of our outcomes.
So are you looking at specific skill sets for these mentors, like engineers or financial gurus, or those who are good at knowing your, like, I don't know, health nuts, things in that nature? Are you looking for specific skill sets out of these mentors?
Jay, oh my goodness. So no, we have the young men in Northwest Indiana, males of color 16 to 24, they are interested in different things. And so we need everybody.
Mhm.
We need everybody. We need everybody. Last year we did I told you guys the first year in 2019, I did the fundraiser to support male mentoring. And then I made it kind of like an annual event. Like this is what we're doing for my birthday every year. So last year in 2021, we added something called the He Future Fair. So I was looking at career and technical education data for Lake County. And I was concerned at there was like 10,414 students that were enrolled in career and technical education in Lake County. So you guys know career and technical education is required by the governor. Like kids got to do it to graduate. So about 19% of those students were Black in Lake County, and 16% Hispanic. And so I was a little concerned about, access for our males of color. And I don't want to say that we serve males of color, biracial, African American, Hispanic. It's just that with the data, a lot of times they only give or they only break it out, with Hispanic and Black. And so that's why a lot of times the data, I can only say Black and Hispanic, and I can't really pull in Native American and biracial.
Right.
But so as a community response to that, right? Because that's something that we don't really have a lot of control over, right? That's the school systems. We have some challenges going on politically with the school systems in some communities. And so I went, and not I, me and my board and volunteers went and tried to identify like career and technical education opportunities. So we had a vendor fair that I call the He Future Fair. We had 48 vendors, and it was like employers that was doing hiring. It was all of the region's colleges. We had training providers, so like the Boilermaker Union was there. We had cultural and spiritual resources. So something called like the Decay Devils, they do like these trips where they take pictures of old buildings, and then they display those pictures. And so they were able to take some pictures while they were at the fair. But the big part is that we were able to partner with high schools in Lake Porter and LaPorte County, and we bussed in 127 males of color to participate in that event that day. And so we're doing it again this year, and we're adding on to it as that seems to be the the goal. But yeah, so I was really proud of how that turned out, and the impact that we were able to make for the young men.
I'm just like, wow.
Jay.
I love stuff like this. Like, I could talk about this for hours. So I'm just like, oh my God, she's so
Jay. So I'm gonna call you. Like we can, or like what's her schedule? Y'all do the podcast. But look, but I need you. I need you.
Yeah.
Come on.
I got you.
Right.
Listen, I get excited. So y'all see, I don't enjoy I don't enjoy talking like this much unless I'm talking about holistic evolution and the work that I'm doing. Like I'll get I'll get to talking when we talking about males of color.
That tells your true passion, and you know that you're in your right space of your journey. A lot of times that's usually the true test, is to see if you're walking the right path and you have the right discernment, is when you're passionate about something you're talking about.
Good
So
point.
that's how you're in your right space.
Yes. And that's one thing that God has confirmed over and over again, that I am in purpose. Yeah, he's just absolutely confirmed it.
Totally.
I was going to ask you, did you feel like you were an introvert, or did you enjoy public speaking? But so I guess it's because you're passionate about that.
Well, so it's so funny that you say that word. I was every test that has ever been taken. Like I'm an extrovert, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in my older age, I don't know how to explain this, but I have become, I don't want to say it's because of the pandemic, but like I feel like I've become like an introvert, just because like I do enjoy, I feel like I get energy from being around people. I honestly do. But I'll do like an event. This past April we did, it's a 2-day event. And so that was like the first, it was a lot. So we did the He Health Fair, and then we organized the Black Barbershop Health Initiative the following day. And so after something like that, it's like I need to be in the house 24 hours, and I don't need to answer my call, like answer the phone. I don't need to, and so it's like I feel like I'm becoming like an introvert. Like I get more energy from being by myself than being around other people. So I don't know. I have to like retake one of the tests that
Yeah.
It sounds like you just need to be recharged.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
You don't. It's plug in, plug off. It's like the
Yeah.
electronic car now. It's like the
Yeah.
Tesla.
All
That's
right.
what you
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sometimes you do need that time away just to, regroup, get your mind right. Because I think sometimes we run a lot, we drain ourselves, and then that can be detrimental. I know it can be for me because I'll get busy doing a million things too. So I can
Then you
definitely
gotta drop
understand
it off.
that.
Stop. Wait a minute. I need to regroup. And then,
Yeah, take a nap. Um,
Right.
let me ask you this. So if a young man comes in between ages 16 and 24, what are some of the services he can expect to receive?
So the he model, this is what we have planned out. But there may be some variation. So a young man coming in receives life coaching,
Okay.
either from myself or one of our member organizations. I like to make sure that there is a choice between a woman and a man. Um, and then they receive mentoring. So that young man sits with their life coach and they identify the type of mentoring that is most helpful for them. So that may be group, that may be one-to-one mentoring. It may be in a community setting, it may be in the school setting. It is about what that young man has identified through coaching, what their needs are. Then through life coaching as well, they receive resource connection. So that resource connection may be to a health provider. I hate to say this. I had a young man that was concerned about like an STD.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, well, here is this person. Let's make this phone call and then let's connect your mentor with this situation.
Yeah.
And so the resource connection, most of the time it's training though. One of our member organizations is physicians coding and education. So young people have access to like a national coding certification and to be able to make money, fairly quickly doing that. And then Little Blues Beauty and Barber College is another one of our member organizations. And so young men going to barber school, that's that resource connection part. But again, that can be whatever is identified through coaching that that young man needs. And when I say identify, he identifies what it is that he needs. And then the fourth component of the he model is the strength focused reward system. And so every time that young man meets with their life coach, with their mentor, they go to school and interact with their teacher, they interact with their training provider. They have access to their own community survey. And this community survey is an opportunity for those individuals in the community that this young man has interacted with to brag on how good he did in school. Or I encourage parents to use the parent survey, to say, James did an amazing job, came in and took the garbage out. I didn't have to ask him to do it, that type of thing. And so the goal is that the young men who get the most people in the community to say good things about them after 30 days would then go on a holistic hero, which is our male mentors, a holistic hero outing for free with their mentor.
Okay.
cool.
So the goal is to have those outings once a month, have up to 25 young men. So these are like the top young men. So that means they're engaging with their life coach, they're engaging with their mentor, they're engaging with, their training provider, they're following up on doctor's appointments if that was a part, of their resource connection. And then we celebrate them by doing something fun, you know. Um, so and then we have to find funding to
Yeah.
to let them do something fun. And so that's I'm just coordinate that. Let me try and find some money to take y'all, to Indianapolis, or let me try and find some money to take y'all to paintballing or something.
Yeah.
But the idea is to reward reward them for I'm sorry, I'm corny, y'all. Sorry. Y'all got that. Real corny. Reward them for say it again, Jay.
So we might be besties now because I like corny. That's good.
Corny. Yeah, so to reward them for positive community engagement. And so I have to like really hit it home with young men. Like, we're not trying to tell you not to work. I'm trying to tell you to work, connect your supervisor to this system so that they can brag on the good work that you're doing. And then let me identify a way to reward you in that holistic hero outing.
Yeah, I can definitely see the benefits of that, because I was always told that for every one negative comment somebody hears, you need about 15 to 16 positive comments to balance that. So I see the value in that. But my question I have for you now is, you had mentioned the barbering there, the relationship you have with those companies. Are they providing scholarships for these individuals to get a barber license?
So a couple things happen. So Lulu's Beauty and Barber College, they accept financial aid. So if you receive financial aid, you can go there with financial aid. But the state of Indiana has, so for young people that are out of high school, they have like next level training and all of those things. So they have funding that's available. So both of the entities that I mentioned, the Physician Coding and Education and Lulu's Beauty and Barber College, are set up to receive funding that way through the state. And then, so that's one part of it. And then the other part of it is now they are both set up to receive funding through the state for high school students. So remember, I talked about that career and technical education. So basically, excuse me, I'm sorry. So basically, you can become a workplace specialist where you are training a young person for, like a full year, and they get this certification afterwards. Or you can offer a CTE, it's called a CTE concentrator. So all of these things are required for young people to graduate in the state of Indiana. And so, yeah, so both of these entities are set up with the state to provide this CTE, either concentrator or this workplace specialist 1 year program. And actually barbering is longer, but yeah. So the state of Indiana has a lot of funding. I don't want to say a lot of funding, that might be overstating, but the training funding is here. The state of Indiana does a really good job of placing resources for training of young people. The issue, I don't want to say the issue, the challenge that we gonna get over is getting the young people to engage in the whole process and making sure, the paperwork is filled out and making sure, they stay on top of those things. So yeah, so funding is available. I don't want to make it seem like everything is free, because there's, a cost of your time,
Yes.
filling out FAFSA and different things like that. There's there's costs associated with you receiving funding, through whoever.
Yeah. Okay. I got another question about the mentors here. So one of my favorite books says it's better to give than to receive. I'm wondering, what do the mentors get out of this? What's in it for them?
So I guess you would have to ask, the mentors directly, but I definitely can share from an organizational perspective, the level of training and investment that we put into our mentors. So for instance, we just, and it's in its infancy state, but one of the projects that was funded was something I'm calling the He Barbershop Health Series. So again, you guys know I organized the Black Barbershop Health Initiative. We took volunteers into the barbershop to do health screenings on patrons one day out of the year. And so the He Barbershop Health Series, I am I'm funded to have mentors and mentees be trained as community health workers. And then they will facilitate conversations in the barbershop around public health issues. So that's the short of it. But the benefit there for the mentors as well as the mentees is, number one, I've secured funding to train you as a community health worker.
Yeah.
And so this you was with, that previous company. And so you understand, being a community health worker and how that would be beneficial.
Oh, yeah.
So paying for the training or identifying funding, Department of Health is actually paying for that training. So these mentors and mentees, so we talking about, young people that are learning early, the challenges that exist with health, right?
Yep.
And not only are they learning and gaining this national certification, but then they are applying that knowledge in facilitating this barbershop talk about, different public health issues. So there's benefit there. Like, this is a certification that you can take and you can get a job and you can make, $40,000-$50,000 a year. And then I'm not paying, the Department of Health is paying them to coordinate these conversations, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll have like a production team that's going to kind of capture these conversations around community violence, risky sexual behavior, substance abuse, misuse and prevention, mental health promotion. So they're going to capture it, edit it down so that, the voices in the room are seen and heard. And then October 13th, we have our annual fundraiser. We have the He Future Fair. And I pray that we'll have a video of what males of color in Northwest Indiana is saying or communicating around these public health topics.
Impressive. All right.
I had a quick
Praise
question.
God, Ward. I'm sorry. What'd you say, Jay?
No, I was just wondering, how are the parents affected? Are they co-participating with the mentors to help the situation? Are they providing volunteers? volunteership? Are they providing a fellowship while their kids are being mentored? And I know that some are disenfranchised because they may not have the proper guidance at home. But are there some parents who are also combating with, because it takes a village. So are the parents also connected?
So, yes and no. So because we're dealing with the 16 to 24-year olds, sometimes, 18, 19-year olds, they're kind of doing this or engaging on their own. Sometimes we get a mixed bag. Some parents, most parents will communicate with the mentor and say, this is going on and blah, blah, blah. And then some parents, not so much, but most, I would say 96% of parents of young men that are, under the age of 18 will communicate and keep the mentor up to date on what's going on and loop the mentor in when things are happening in the home. But the challenge with that is making sure that we have mentors that are committed and engaged at that level. So we navigate multiple, mentors, and I try to, just identify the ones that maybe could handle like a high engagement young man or parent or whatever. But it's a lot of coordination. Just coordinate. We coordinate.
Yeah,
We
like the movie.
Yes.
All right. All right. We're gonna move on to the final section of the show before we let you go. It's just called Rapid Fire Get to Know You. We just ask you a few questions, either or, would you rather, or this or that, okay, if you will. So I'll just rattle off a few here. I know that you really like comedy. So who are some of your favorite comedians that really make you laugh?
Oh man, I really knew you was gonna say that. I knew you was gonna say that because I saw that I had posted that on my story, and I saw you that you saw it yesterday. So Corey Holcomb used to be like just I know, right? Listen, used to be like the funniest person in the world to me. Like, just he was so funny. But now, like, just hilarious. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm gonna start laughing now, but just hilarious is hilarious.
I love her. She's funny. She's funny.
Like she is so incredibly funny, and I mean so funny that she came, like the first time she came to Chicago, I went by myself. Like and I'm talking about I'm in between couples. It was like Valentine's Day. It was like the D-Ray Valentine's Day comedy thing.
Yeah.
I'm in between couples and I'm just sitting there like, girl, it's that serious. So Just Hilarious is definitely hilarious and so extremely funny. And then so I'm a Christian, and Kev on stage is more kind of like a little bit more wholesome comedy. So I listen to him.
Yeah. But he still gives
those
situations.
So I
said he does, but he gives those situations where you were in the church and you like, that happened. I was there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, so I listen to that's my thing. Following just the comedy, and I love to laugh. Okay. I love to laugh and being silly.
All right. Next question is, which is a better movie in your opinion, Love Jones or Black Panther?
Black Panther. Mostly because mostly because
I'm just reacting.
Yeah. No, like I've not. Black Panther is probably the first movie in years that I can like watch over and over and over again. So yeah, And it may be because, I saw Love Jones like a long time ago, and I don't know, but I'm going with Black Panther.
Okay, all right. Shower gel or shower soap bar? That's a debate that's going around right now.
Listen, who is debating that?
At the end of the day, well, it don't matter.
People have been diluting the bottle soap. They've been diluting.
They've been diluting it. Okay, all right. So let's go with So I use bar soap for my face, and then I use gel for everything else.
Okay.
And the bottom of my feet. That's random. Too much information. I'm sorry. I'll be doing that sometimes. I'm sorry.
Okay. I got two left.
Toes. It's all right.
Right. Two left here. If you could have a conversation with only one of these gentlemen, who would it be? Malcolm or Martin?
Martin. Absolutely. I feel like I am a person that tries to like pursue peace, and I try to step back from every situation and like look at both sides of an argument. So yeah, it's been challenging lately to step back a lot. And so right now I would love to sit down with Martin.
Okay. All right. And Obama or Trump?
What about him?
Had to pick one.
Oh,
think about it.
I don't want to choose. So I would choose Obama. He definitely changed the landscape of my parenting. I think my son was 6 or 7 when he came into office, and so for my son to be able to see that, definitely inspiring. Trump, I actually really liked Trump prior to the presidency. I thought he was a funny guy, and I think everybody did. But yeah, like I can't. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
That's definitely fair. Because he is, despite the political climate, he had some valid things that people would probably want to sit down and talk to him about. To gain knowledge, regardless of where he stood, you could still get knowledge from him somehow.
Good point.
Both sides.
All right.
I will.
Non-partisan aspect.
I will like just not. I don't know. I can't say anything related to that.
I understand.
I've said enough. I've said too much.
We don't need black suits coming to you. We all right.
Right. And that was a good answer. If you could go back 15 years and talk to young Esther, what would you tell her?
15 years.
Okay, 14 and a half. 14 and a half
so
years.
I would be, so I'm trying to think of how old would I have been? So I'd have been about 30 or 20. I'm 42 now. So
probably late 20s.
Yeah.
27. So I would affirm her at that age, honestly, because that is the time period where I was really getting starting to identify a purpose. There were some things going on with my son and education, and I started advocating for him around his education, and it required me to do research on how Black boys are being treated in the classroom. And I got passionate and just started filing complaints. And so I would probably affirm her in that area. A lot of times I just want to be pleasant to everybody, and I, be a people pleaser, so to speak. And I was apologizing a lot back then for the way that I felt. And now I know that those feelings were valid, that it wasn't, just in my head. And so I would definitely affirm her, like, you are on the right track. You, this is what you're passionate about. This is what God put you on this earth to do. Is advocate for, males of color. Do it. I would definitely say do it.
There you go. All right, I respect that. Well,
Awesome.
I'm going to go ahead and ask you to remind our audience again where they can find you on social media before we end it. So what is
Awesome.
your again?
So I am on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and LinkedIn as Ester Lewis, maybe Ester Lewis 23. And then we also have in YouTube, and we have the Holistic Evolution pages that are Holistic Evolution INC. So you can reach me there. The website is www.esterjlewis.com. And then Holistic Evolution's website is www.holisticevolution.org.
Okay. And you accept donations, and people from anywhere can just contribute to the program?
You can, when you click on the website and go to the donate link, there are a number of campaigns that we have. So if you want to contribute to the Holistic Hero outing, or if you want to just make a contribution, you can do so from our webpage.
Wonderful. J-Baby, do you have anything you want to tell her before I wrap it up?
Girl, I'm just like in awe. I'm just happy to see you identify with a lot of things that I on the back end work on. I also have a son and a daughter, but I had some similar issues educationally where they were trying to do things, and I'm just like, yes, I have other people who feel the same way I feel. So it's been an honor to be in front of you to talk to you and let you expose yourself and expose your nonprofit. So it's been a blessing. So I thank you for letting us talk to you today.
Praise God. That just made me feel all warm inside. Praise God.
Okay. Well, I'm going to end the show by just saying this. Every day we wake up, we have two choices. We can, what do they say? We have a choice and we have a chance. Choice and a chance. So let's take advantage of those every day. Thank you, Esther, for being our guest today. And we look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.
Awesome. Bye.